Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. We are celebrating summer. We love ice cream sandwiches and ice cream cones and ice cream anywhere. Well, I have a recipe for you that you are going to love, and it makes a good amount of these delicious ice cream treats. They are brownie ice cream bars or ice cream brownie bars, however you want to say it. They're scrumptious. And you can do it with homemade ice cream, which I have plenty of on the videos if you ever want to make ice cream, or just store-bought ice creams. And I make it with 3 different types, layers. You can even layer with some sorbet and ice cream. Very, very cool and very cooling on a hot summer night. But before we get started, I'd like you to click that notification button because I would like you to become a subscriber and get all my tips and videos, which are awesome, and you will learn a lot. So the first thing I have to do is put this saucepan with a few ingredients on my cooktop and bring it to a boil. 1 stick of butter, doesn't have to be softened. I have 1/4 cup of brewed coffee. If you have any cold brew around, you can use that, very nice. Or just coffee, instant coffee with a little water in it. And I have 1 cup of dark brown sugar plus 2 tablespoons, and that's packed. I have that in there. I'm going to bring this whole thing and put it right on the burner and bring it to a boil. All right, we're just going to bring it to a boil, melt that butter, and you want to get that sugar nice and dissolved, and that's the brown sugar, all right? So in the meantime, I have 1 cup and 2/3, so 1 2/3 cups of semi-sweet dark chocolate or bittersweet chocolate, whatever you want to use. I just use chocolate chips, and those are going to go into that mixture that I have on the stove. The butter, the coffee, and the brown sugar, and we're going to melt the chocolate in there, and that's going to make our brownie yummy and fudgy, which I love. So in the meantime, I have 3 large eggs, and I put it in a big bowl, and I'm going to add some vanilla, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and we're just going to get that whisked in a little while, but we have a little bit more mise en place to do. So in our bowl here for our dry ingredients, I have 1 cup. It's not that much flour. It's just 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda, and guess what the baking soda is going to do? It's going to be our leavening agent and help our brownies to rise just enough, just a little. We don't want them too big because we want room for that ice cream. So they're going to react with the brown sugar, which is acidic. Baking soda, as you know, needs an acid, and baking soda is going to form a neutralization reaction with that. I'm leaving you for 1 moment just to go take a peek on my stove. All right, so I'm getting my sugar dissolved and just move it around. All right, so just move it around. You can see it almost looks like caramel, because if you kept going, besides the coffee, that's basically what a quick caramel is. So I'm going to get that going on here. This is almost done. All right, we're just bringing it to a quick boil. All right, we're just about there. I'm going to give it 1 more minute. So we have our 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add my chemical leavener, baking soda, and that is 1 1/2 teaspoons. And then I'm going to add some plain, just salt, kitchen salt, 3/4 teaspoon. If you like kosher salt, you can add that. Sometimes I think it gives too salty a taste, or 1 little bit of the brownie salty and the other part is not. So I'm going to use regular table salt. We're going to whisk that up, and we're going to put that aside. All right. So before I whisk up my eggs, because eventually we're going to add our chocolate mixture in with the eggs. So we are here. I am going to bring over a kitchen towel, which I forgot. This is a working kitchen, folks. So you know what? Things change. They're fluid in here. All right. So here goes my 1 2/3 cup of chocolate chips. I'm going to let that melt. And no dipping. Don't put a spoon in to try it. It's luscious, but we need every bit of it for a brownie. And it's melting beautifully. All right, just get that to sort of stir around, and do use a whisk so that'll get everything mixed. And you can see it sort of thickens up, because what happens is the chocolate has some starch in it just naturally, and it just sort of has a thickening reaction with all the other ingredients, with the brown sugar. And remember that brown sugar is acidic and is going to actually help our baking soda get a neutralization reaction, which will form carbon dioxide and will help our brownies to rise. So you see that? It's a little too hot right now to add directly to our eggs, so we're just going to leave it. But the chocolate is melted. It's beautiful. I'm going to move my whisk over here. And in the meantime, I'm going to get another whisk. Just get our egg yolks and our vanilla and just blend it until the egg yolks are sort of light in color. And then we're going to add our chocolate mixture and then eventually our dry mixture. And this is a little different than a typical brownie recipe. This brownie is almost, I don't know, it reminds me, if you ate the brownie by itself without any ice cream, almost like a flourless brownie or flourless chocolate cake. It's lighter, so that when you freeze it with the ice cream in between, it just gets sort of fudgy, but it doesn't get rock hard, because a typical brownie would have more fat in it, more butter, and get very, very hard. All right, use your biceps, Chef Sokol. All right, here we go. Here we go. You didn't know you could actually work out while you bake. It's true. Very physical. All right, so once you get that mixed up and they've sort of lightened a little bit, while I'm giving this another minute to just cool down, I'm going to show you what I did. I took two 9 by 13 inch pans, like cake pans. All right, I call them brownie pans, cake pans, but they should have straight sides. I've sprayed them with nonstick cooking spray, and I've lined them with aluminum foil and sprayed them again. And if you notice, two sides, the two short sides, have overlapping foil going over, all right? So that's what we want. We want two sides overlapping, because we want to be able to take them out afterwards in one piece. We're not cutting them in here. We're going to take them out and freeze them, cool them down, and then we're going to put one back in here, put ice cream in there, different layers of ice cream, and then put the other brownie on top and push down so everything gets all nice and compacted. And wait till you cut into these. They are gorgeous. This is like the Better Homes and Gardens of an ice cream sandwich. I'm not kidding. All right, are you ready? I'm going to add my chocolate mixture. And it's almost like a batter in itself because of all the brown sugar and the coffee. So when you put it in, just get it all in there, and then you're going to want to mix it all up with a whisk. And then you're going to put the whisk down and use your rubber spatula to get the dry ingredients in. So it's just easier for me to get all this yumminess in here this way. So I'm going to get this out. We're going to use that in a second, and we're just going to whisk this up. Give it a second. It may take a little while to incorporate the chocolate into the eggs. Okay, give it a second. You have to be a little patient when you bake, you know. Oh, and I've preheated my oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you do that about 15 minutes before you're ready to put things in the oven. And these don't take that long to bake at all. Very, 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 very easy. So very, very easy amount of time, 20 minutes. And you've got two brownies. Look how nice the eggs got emulsified with the chocolate, and it got yum, yum, yum. Now, if you had just put melted chocolate in with the eggs, it might have seized up, and that's what happens very frequently. All right, now, are we ready for our dry ingredients? Oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna take my whisk and say goodbye to the whisk. And we're just gonna be using our flour, baking soda, and salt, and our rubber spatula to get that in there. Okay? And you're not gonna overmix here because we don't wanna form gluten. You're gonna have a little gluten because you are using all-purpose flour, but we don't wanna overdo it because we don't want a tough brownie. Oh, this is gonna be so good. And they are thin brownies. It's not gonna fill the cake pan. Now the first time I made this, because I've experimented a few times, the first time I made this, I used a cookie sheet with sides. And then I had to cut it in half. And there was no way to pack the ice cream down. There was no sides of that cookie sheet. It was, only one side had sides, the other side was cut. So I had a tough time keeping the ice cream level and sort of packing it down. So I came up with this way and it works beautifully. So again, not a lot of batter to divide. So you're just gonna eyeball it and get it into your pan. Again, heavy bowl. All right, so just get half in here, just eyeball it into your prepared pans, okay? And your oven should be ready to go. And you're gonna have to spread the batter a little bit. Remember, it's gonna be very thin. And I don't mean thin as in it looks thin, the batter. I mean it's going to be only a thin layer. And that's fine. That's what we're looking for. Let the baking soda do the rest of the work for you. And it's not going to climb that high, so don't be upset if it doesn't get too tall. It's not going to. It's not meant to. This is an ice cream sandwich. This is not a cake. You want a cake, you make a cake. We want ice cream sandwich, a brownie ice cream sandwich. All right. Now, I'm going to spread this with my offset spatula. So what I do is I'm just going to move things around here. All right. And you want to move it into the corners. See what I'm doing? Move it into the corners. And just sort of let the batter guide you. Just push it a little and let it sort of flow. Let it flow. All right. Again, very thin. It's probably going to be maybe 1/4 of an inch high. 1/2 an inch maybe. I'd say 1/4 maybe. And then I'm going to do this with both of them. I'm going to bake it for 20 minutes only. And then I'm going to allow them to completely cool. Now, if you wanted to add nuts, go nuts, add nuts. But they should be pretty finely chopped. The reason is you're gonna cut this into rectangles once it is an ice cream sandwich. And you don't want the nuts to break the brownie. So if you wanted to add any type of walnuts or pecans, but I'm always, cautious because sometimes when people try my stuff, they'll say they're allergic to nuts. So it depends, unless I announce that there's nuts in it. The ice cream may have nuts in it because I just made a glorious pistachio ice cream. And I have a fabulous pistachio gelato recipe online if you ever want to look at it. All right, are we ready for the oven? We're ready for the oven. The brownie batter is talking to me. Yes. All right, so I'm going to get all that good stuff in there. Smooth it out as best you can. 20 minutes. It should not be that hard. Do not overbake this. 325 degrees, 20 minutes. See you back. So my brownies just came out of the oven, exactly 20 minutes, and you can see how dull the top looks, but it's beautiful. You don't want to push down on it. But what I want to do is get my offset spatula and just sort of push down on the sides before it gets too hard. You see that? Just leave it. Don't worry about it. You just want to push it down because eventually we want it to come out of the pan. So I'm just gonna go all the way around, not on the sides that have the foil. The foil should come out relatively easily because it's already on the foil and it's greased. So I'm just gonna go around here. Once these cool down, you see what I'm doing? Once these cool down, you don't want to break into the brownie, you don't want to touch it, you don't want to stick anything in it. We want as perfect a brownie as we can get, all right? We're going to freeze these once they get to sort of warm room temperature. We're going to put them in the freezer, and I am going to let them sit in the freezer for about 30 minutes. Once they come out of the freezer, I'm actually going to take them out of the pan, and that's where the foil comes in. So you're going to grab them on either side, not now. You grab them on either side and put them on a sheet pan, all right? And let them sit there. Put one back in the freezer, put the other one on another sheet pan. They may fit on one sheet pan, you just don't want them one on top of the other, but you want to keep them relatively frozen. Put them in the freezer, and then wash out one pan, wash it out, dry it, and line it with plastic wrap, because that's where we're going to build our brownie ice cream sandwiches in. I cannot wait until you see this. So I'm cooling, and I'm gonna go in the freezer. So my brownies cooled down. I took both of them out of the pans, put them on sheet pans on foil, and then I cleaned out one of the pans. I didn't grease it or anything. I lined it with plastic wrap on all 4 sides. And I wanted to make sure that once it's frozen, we can get it out. So I have 3 different flavors. Some is store-bought, some is homemade. It doesn't matter. I thought it would be nice to have pistachio, vanilla, raspberry, really, really cool. This is my beautiful pistachio. I'm just going to put that on in a layer. I let it soften. So you might need maybe a quart or maybe a couple of quarts, depending on how big you like your ice cream sandwiches. I like them big. Can you tell? I like them really big. And if some of the flavors sort of, you know, blend, it's fine. That's absolutely fine. And I'm going to take my ice cream scoop. This is a cool scoop because it's sort of flat. It cuts right through the ice cream, and you don't even need an offset spatula. It just sort of smooths it out. Okay, so I'm just sort of going in all the nooks and crannies. I want you to see I'm actually going to go all in the sides. All right, and I'm going to actually mash it down as hard as I can. And if I don't fill this entire layer, it's okay, because I'm going to cover it with another layer. And if, again, they meld together and get a little swirly, oh, it's gorgeous when you cut into it. It's gorgeous. And what a beautiful summer dessert. Not only forget the kids, this is adults. This is an adult thing. Serve this on the side with on a plate with a little chocolate sauce. Oh, yes. My friends love this. My friends love this when I do this. Love, love, love. All right, so I'm going in. I'm using all this ice cream. All right, this is my homemade pistachio. Okay, I'm going in. And now the next layer I'm going to do is vanilla. All right, I think I've basically covered everything. All right, we are done here, and try to get it as packed as you can. All right, vanilla, come on, baby. This is where it's okay to eat an ice cream sandwich like this, because you've already worked it off, right? Because you're really using your biceps and triceps. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this basically softens it a bit as I'm digging it out, but it's already softened. Oh, yum. Okay. So this is worth about 2 pints right here, about a quart. And then I have 2 pints of my raspberry. And I'm just going to spread it out. Spread it out. This one's not as softened as my pistachio, but it's okay. Swirls are good. And then what we're going to do, once we pack this all in, we are going to top it with our second brownie layer. All right. Do not put it in upside down. Put it in right side up. Push it down, and then we freeze the whole thing for several hours or overnight. And then what I like to do is before company comes, I like to let it get to like a little softened, not super softened because you don't want the ice cream to melt, but maybe about 5 or 10 minutes out of the freezer. And then I take it out from here, and you may have to go around with an offset spatula, and that's fine, just to get around the plastic wrap. And then what I like to do is cut it into squares or rectangles. And if you don't have vanilla going all around, that's okay. Yow! Ice cream power! Ice cream power. Yes. All right, so I'm going to break it up a little bit with my nice clean hands because it is a little hard. Okay? And what you do with clean hands is fine. All right, as long as they're clean. All right. Oh, nice. So I got most of it covered. I still got a little more in there. I'm almost done. You give me a quart or a pint, couple of pints of ice cream. I got a lot of things that you can make delicious desserts with it. All right, so now I'm just going to move this around and get it down so it's sort of mushing in and spreadable. It's getting softened. I'm creating a little friction with my ice cream scooper. Okay. All right. I actually like that. We're going to really push it down. Really push it down. We want nothing showing but the ice cream. Okay. We are ready for the raspberry framboise. Oh, yeah. And this gets nice and soft. This is a sorbet, so it's not an ice cream. So it's a little icier, but it's lovely. Oh, it's lovely. And it gives such a beautiful color. And you know what I like about it? It gives you a little break from the ice cream, the richness of the ice cream. It gives you a little bit of a fruitiness. You could use anything you want. You could use vanilla and lemon if you're a lemon person that doesn't mind it with a brownie. You could do any type. Coffee is good. I did that when I was experimenting. Coffee is yummy. Coffee is one of my favorite. My favorite types of ice cream is coffee. Oh, yeah. I have a lot of ice creams in my Baking with Success book that you can get online if you wish. Oh, yeah. So now I'm going to get my last. And you can fill it all the way up, or you can make it so it's not as deep. All right. And now I'm going to push. And it looks like a hodgepodge now, but when you see the brownie pushed down into it and frozen, it's delicious. And it's swirly, and you see the different colors, and it's like, oh, this is delicious, and it must have taken you hours and hours and hours. Well, it took maybe hours to freeze it, but it didn't take hours to make. The brownie took like 2 minutes, 20 minutes to bake. Then you cooled it, and that was it. Okay, I'm going to rotate. I'm all done with my frozen accoutrement. All right. I'm not happy until I'm actually going to spread this. And as you warm it up and give a little friction, I may have to wash my arms because I'm getting ice cream everywhere. But why not? Ice cream and sorbet everywhere. You see how it's spreading nicely? That's what you want. That's what you want. That's what you want. Oh, yeah. Yum, yum, yum. All right, so I'm going to get my brownie. I have it in the fridge so it stays cold. I'm going to slide it on here, push it down, cover it with plastic wrap into the freezer. I'll see you back. So I got my second brownie layer out of the fridge and I'm putting it right on top. And I'm going to push. And I'm going to push. And I really want to adhere the brownie to all the frozen goodness. And don't worry about the crumbs on the side. Don't worry about the little bit of crust on the side. We're gonna trim it. We are going to eat the trim because that's the best part. And I'm pushing because I don't want any air bubbles in my ice cream. So now I'm going to take this, sides, pull them up. Other side, pull it up. Other side, pull it up. Other side, pull it up. Now we're still exposed a little on the top, so you're going to take a new piece of plastic wrap. And you are now ready for the freezer. Several hours of freezing, and I'm ready to cut after. Take care. So I took my Jagundo ice cream brownie bar out of the freezer. It's been freezing for several hours. You can do it overnight. You can even do it a week ahead if you want to. And now the big reveal. So I've left it here maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how warm your kitchen is. And you don't want it to get too warm, and you do want to have maybe some plastic wrap around to wrap each individual ice cream sandwich. Oh, look at how nice it looks. And then we're gonna, let's see. Let me do a big flip. We'll do a big flip. All right, let's see if this comes out. And we'll just flip it out. Oh, it's coming out. Lovely. Get out of the way. Get out of the way, arm. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is so amazing. I'm so excited. Okay. Actually, you should be excited because this is really good. I tried this like 3 times. I have so many of these in my freezer. You have no idea. But why not? They will serve us well all summer long, and maybe even into the winter. So I'm going to get as much plastic wrap as I can off, and I don't want this to get too soft before I slice. All right, and you can cut these as big or as small as you want. Again, you can even use like chocolate sauce if you want, but we want to see the layers, right? So I'm going to cut. Again, you're going to use your muscle. Oh, I can smell the pistachio ice cream and the brownie. I really can. Can you? I mean, it's really incredible. All right, I'm just going to chop very cautiously around here. All right. You may have to go through again because it's a little hard. Okay. Let's see what the first one looks like. Okay. Oh, I see it. I see it. You're going to be very excited. You're going to be so excited. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. No. This is too good. Hold on. I'm going to move this because you got to see this. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, if you want to trim a little here, you can. I don't think it's necessary. I think it looks really awesome. Cut them as big or as small as you want. But you can see our vanilla, our pistachio, our raspberry. Lovely. I'm going to serve them. And you can save any pieces. I have a wax paper lined sheet pan. So if I have any, and there's like, this is like an uneven little bit. That's for me later. Okay. Isn't that pretty? Look at how pretty. We'll do one more. And you can even refreeze this as it is whole. and serve it another time. But give yourself a few minutes to cut these. Again, what I love to do is wrap these individually and hand them out to people at a barbecue and say, that's dessert. And if you want to make it pretty, you know, like a little, like upscale, put a little chocolate sauce over them on a plate, and it's still it's an amazing dessert. You can even just make some simple ganache, and you got it. I really hope you try these. Store-bought ice cream, homemade ice cream, whatever you want to do, it's amazing. And the way to go with this brownie, the brownie is so good with that little hint of brewed coffee in there. Really, really is awesome. It's awesome. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Okay, okay, don't get too excited. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Look at that. So I hope you make this beautiful brownie ice cream sandwich. I hope you have many of them in your freezer. I hope you give them to your family and friends. You're going to love them. And I hope you become a subscriber. Until next time.